Oh, still hungover, still hungover. One more coffee perhaps, one more. Is that my pants up there? Okay. Well, best not ask any questions, I guess. Get to work. Right, coffee done. Good to go. Oh, maybe I'll just use a dunny first. Hello and welcome back to Mars. I'm Mick. We're playing Stationeers. Now today we're back up on the top of a hill at our good old lighthouse beacon, and we're going to cover something that I wasn't really going to do, but thanks to a recent update to our solar sensors there, this has suddenly become a lot easier. So I thought we'll give it a go. We'll get into a dual axis solar tracking using logic chips, the 2021 style. Now if you remember back to our single axis solar tracking, we came up with this circuit to help us with our solar tracking. Now thanks to changes with the solar panels and the sensor, you don't need all of it anymore. Our circuit up to the min-max is all required, and now we don't need this anymore because the solar panels have been fixed and they don't wig out if you give it a value above 100%. So now you can just hook the math unit straight into the batch writer and you're good to go for single axis tracking. But what we're after today is dual axis tracking. Now it's not really a high priority on Mars because as we are just with single axis tracking, we've got 96% efficiency as it is. So going to all the trouble for an extra 4%, yeah, who cares? But you're not always going to be on Mars. If you're on Europa, 4% does make a big difference, and you won't get 96% just from single axis tracking. So you will have to go to dual axis as soon as possible. What we've got here for dual axis tracking is rubbish, so we're pretty much just going to have to strip all that out. There we go, all nice and clean. Right, the first thing we have is we've got to put in our solar sensor. Now, for dual axis tracking, we do a little bit different to the single axis tracking. And because we're going to be getting both angles from the same sensor, we first have to make sure that our sensor and our solar panels are correctly aligned. Now, if we grab our wrench, we set our solar panel to 0 and 0. That solar panel is now pointing at the 0 direction for the solar panel. Now we want the data port of our sensor to be pointing the same direction. So sticking down there, the data port is pointing 0 direction with that. That way we know that our sensor and our solar panels are aligned, so when we pull out a horizontal angle from here, it will give the correct orientation to the panel. Right, sensor in. Just cable him up and off we go. Now to read the sensor, we're of course going to need a logic reader. So pop him in there, so the data input, the input side of it is connected to the sensor and the power is connected to the power, of course. Right. Now we hook him up. The daylight sensor. Now we want to read the vertical angle first. So now it used to just have solar angle. We now have horizontal and vertical in there. So we want to read the vertical angle, which I'm on 34. Now that is actually reading the vertical angle from straight up. Now once again, that's not going to do us much good because our solar panels read from the 0 at one side. So we want to convert an angle which is 90 degrees vertical to one that is pointing towards the horizon. Now solar panels only move from 15 degrees all the way over to 165 degrees. So trust me on this one. The math we do from this one is we take 75 and subtract that angle from it. So we're going to need a logic memory and a math unit. Right, so there we have it. That's some ugly wiring there, but it makes the logic a bit simpler. So the logic reader has to come into the other side of the math unit and the memory. because we want our memory to be the 75 minus input 2. So it's ugly, but it helps us with the logic. Okay, so we set it up. We pick the logic memory, it's the only one connected. We pick the logic reader because it's the only one connected. And we want to subtract. Right, yeah, now we switch him on, and we get, there we go, 66. That's 8 degrees. That's about right. So now that we have an angle to work with here, we don't want an angle, we want a percentage. So our current solar angle sweep that we've got there on the solar panel is 150 degrees. And we have an angle 150, we want it to return into a percentage between 1 and 100. So we divide by 1.5. So for that, we're going to use, once again, our math unit and a memory unit. Okay, so wire them up. Connect them up, we want the memory to be 1.5. We are going to divide. We're going to take the logic math, it's the only one connected. The memory, it's the only thing connected, and we're going to divide. There you are. Switch on. There we go, 6%. That looks about right. Now we've got the percentage, we can just write it straight back into the panels now. So we just need our batch writer. Oop, done. And wire him up. And connect him back up to the power. Back up to the solar panel data. So, wire him up. Logic math is the only thing connected. Output type is the solar panels, and we're writing the vertical angle. Switch on. And our solar panels align. Now, we're getting a 91% efficiency. So it's about what we're getting off the old one, but these will tilt up to vertical during the morning, and during the afternoon they'll tilt back down to face sunrise, because the rest of it should be handled by the horizontal tracking. So we've got to get some horizontal tracking happening. Now for the horizontal angle, the first thing we're going to need is a logic reader. Although we've already read the angle for the vertical, we're going to have to read it again from the horizontal. Now fortunately for this one, we can just use the same sensor again. So we hook him up, and we shall read the daylight sensor, and we shall read the horizontal angle. Switch it on, there we go. Now the angle that we get from our solar sensor is between minus 180 and 180 degrees. The solar panels will want an angle between 0 and 360 degrees. So to do that, we're just going to add 180 degrees to it. Right, so to add 180, we are going to, of course, need a math unit, math, and a memory. And done. Now we just need to set him to 180. Input is the memory, it's the only thing attached. Input is the logic read, it's the only thing attached. And output we're just going to add, which it was already on add, wasn't it? Good day. Right, so when the sun comes up we'll find that one out. Now, so now that we've got the horizontal angle, it's right, all we need to do is write it back into the solar panels data cable. So to write it back to solar panels, we're going to need a batch writer. And that has simply got connect in. So once again, our input will be the logic math. It's the only thing that's connected to it. Our output will be the solar panels, and we're now writing the horizontal angle. So there we go. That should be it. Just got to wait for morning now. Our logic, we're reading the solar angle. It is reading minus 76 degrees. The solar panels will not like that. They will just lock down to 0 degrees. So we have added 180 degrees from there. Now we're 105. Looking good. Batch writer, just hook them straight back into there. Switch it on. They're turning to face the sun. That is good. That is good. So if we go up, take a look at them, see what they're doing. They're now running at 100% efficiency there. As I say, on Mars, it's only an extra 4%, so big whoop. But on Europa, that is going to get you a lot of power. Same as Vulcan once you venture there. That will be an essential thing. So we have our horizontal tracking is only 4 chips. Our vertical tracking is 6 chips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's not, it used to take a lot more chips than that, so I never really bothered with doing logic chips on the logic writer. But now it's a relatively simple task and you can get it up and going just using logic chips. Of course, if you run to an IC, you can do it with 2 chips and an IC unit. But save that for another day. There we go. 100% efficiency, dual axis solar tracking. Now we can see from our network analyzer here that our extra logic control we've put in, it does consume a little bit extra power to actually control the circuit there, but we've gained more than we've used, so we'll call that a win. Once again, on Mars it's not a big difference, but Europa, it's a huge win. Well, that's it for today. Till next time, happy building. See ya. It's not very well documented in the game, but if you can't have the materials to build an AMI, you can actually find them in the wild. See, I've just come across a herd of them out grazing out in the Martian atmosphere. See, they're not trouble. Look, hang on, I seem to have attracted the attention of one of the alphas here. This could be trouble. You know, back. Stay. Bad Amy. Bad Amy. Okay. Oh.
Health critical. Cognition critical.
I should have taken the high ground. I should have listened to Obi-Wan.